And welcome everybody back to another episode of the Cash Flow Asian Show. I'm super excited today, because I got to interview, the top 10 team in my group. And Sean, so excited to speak to you. And Helen, super, super excited to talk to you as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Like I told you guys, number one, really the objective of the call, is really for me to get to know you, right? Because everybody in my group, they are not a number, right? These are real people, and I really care a lot for them. I want to take all the chance that I can to get to know everybody in my group a little better, so I can support you, in any way I possibly can. Yeah.
Thank you.
And then it's gonna give you a chance to tell your story. I know that you're gonna have an amazing story to share, especially with your background, the way you, especially Helen, from a newbie all the way to the top 10 in the group. You have so much to share to all the real estate agent out there who is struggling. They might think about like, hey, if I want to be like Sean, like Helen, what is the step that you're gonna take, right? That they're gonna take. Yep. But yeah, let's start from the beginning, and I actually want to find out myself as well. So, Sean, you can go first, and then Helen, like, what is your professional life before you even get a real estate license?
Okay, so first of all, thank you for having us here again. A great pleasure here. I was trained as a chemical engineer, master's degree. I was working as a professional engineer, and then I got into a restaurant business
Oh
for a
yeah.
few, and then I made a change to uh, the real estate business.
Oh
Helen.
wow, that's amazing. What about Helen?
Yeah, I was the owner of some beauty salons, and then I was a instructor for cosmetology,
Okay.
CND.
Wow. Well, so let's go down a little bit. Like, I mean, chemical engineer all of a sudden going to real estate. Like how could that happen?
Was I really didn't believe in real estate business in the U.S. because I always thought that the appreciation of the properties here were too low compared to in the environment that I grew up in India.
I know, right? Yep, I agree with that.
But then I came across more concepts like short-term rental investments in other segments of real estate like fix and flippers and other things, and I started getting interested in it, and we're still learning a lot. And then when you look at those investments in general, uh, basically returns, cash on cash returns make sense, and I have a inclination towards investments in general, and I thought this was an opportunity to get into what I thought I always loved. And actually Helen was the person that drug me into it first, and then I'm like, oh,
Uh,
whatever, and that's how I got into it,
oh,
really.
she wrapped
First.
you into it.
That's right. How about you?
Okay. Well, so who started in the whole in the restaurant industry first? Is it you or is it Helen?
That's me. So so I got fired as a chemical engineer, and
Oh man.
yes, before getting fired, I already had a lease signed up and stuff for restaurants. I
Uh-huh.
guess whatever happened, and so when I got fired, I was smiling. Couldn't anyway. So I jumped into restaurant industry. I wanted to be in a service industry in the U.S. at the time, and then it was a restaurant is a lot of work, and at some point in any business, you gotta think if you want to double down and grow faster and what it's going to take to be there, and is it a right sector for you,
Mhm.
in terms of business. And I got there. I made a lot of efforts. I enjoyed that a lot. I learned a lot from restaurant industry. uh, and then Helen just basically said, hey, you spend a lot of time away from children and this whole thing. If there was any better way, if I could show you that uh, real estate could work for us, would you make that change? So I'm like, all right. I was very doubting, the
Wow.
whole thing, but yes, she changed my mind.
Wow. So Helen is really, the woman behind, all the changes and all the motivation. So Helen, from the cosmetology G industry, like all of a sudden, you move into real estate. Could you describe, like why would you make that change? because there's a lot of Asian, I mean not Asian, but people, they in the same shoe at you. They doing something that they don't like, or they always thinking about, like, hey, should I go to real estate? So could you speak to the people, and tell them about your experience? How can you transform something completely different to real estate?
Oh, thank you for your question. At first, usually when we open a salon, we only looking for the area, and we do the calculate ourselves. We're looking for the place. We have to find out if the place demographic is good, and then we get our own lease. We learn a lot during the time, like couple salon, and that it's so much to learn. So one day I'm thinking I had to depend on the agent a lot to find that.
Ah.
Even though I found a play myself. I make a deal with the landlord myself, but then I still have to have the agent to help me with some paperwork that I don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
So then I had to learn that myself. So I
Yeah,
guess
I love it.
so we make the deal for our lease for the salon and for the restaurant ourselves, and then
Yep.
how.
Yep. So you are really similar to me, Sean and Helen. I'm because I'm in the same boat before, right? I have a real estate agent who took me around to see investment property, and all of a sudden I'm like, man, I'm the one who do all the work. I'm the one who do all the analysis. I'm the one who make a decision, and the only thing that the agent does is, hey, he or she just really pushing paper around. Like, why should I pay them, him or her? And then you get into it, and then you're gonna find out, oh my god, there's so much work into the agency. But yeah, we pretty much start in the same way, like getting the license first so that we can go and buy our own investment property. So that's
There
awesome.
information, like looking from outside in, people may not understand the power behind having a realtor's license. If you're interested in the business, there's so much insight that you get. There's so many tools that you can use. There's so many secrets that you can utilize for you and for the betterment of people that you're working with, like investors and then other buyers. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you get opportunity to learn all that, jiggle with all that, and have it play to your benefit.
Yep, yep. And I see, I interview so many top producing agents. I see one commonality between all the people who produce on the high level. They always open and they're always willing to learn as much as they can. It doesn't matter who you talk to in what industry. If they're really successful in that industry, they're always really, really hungry for knowledge. And I can see that in Sean. I can see that in Helen. Oh my God, so good. So going back, when your first year, right? And I remember Helen, she was so new. She called me. I would love to help her. That was, she's really, like trying to figure out this real estate things out in her first year. So could you guys describe your challenge? Within your first year, I know there's a ton of challenge. And how do you get to your first year in real estate? I know there's so much story to tell here.
Okay, so for me, I think most realtors that join the business, the first most important, I think, significant challenge is to get the leads, right? Paperwork, everything, blah blah blah. You can find your way around, ask
Yep.
people. A lot of help available, guys, more than you can imagine within the EXP. Just got to know where to ask, including who he's always available. One text, one phone call away, and then so the first most important challenge is the meat of the matter, which is leads,
The lead.
customers. How do we get the customers in, right? I mean, I'll tell you myself. I even held a sign on the street that said, here's a cool realtor, and I would dance to the music on the street, and you cannot stop. You cannot stop advertising. The
Mm,
number one thing that I believe in this business, you have to advertise. Everything that works for me not necessarily will work for some other person, but you have to find your way. You have to find your comfort zone or your sustainable way to get to these leads, and perpetually keep generating, leads one after another. So number one challenge in the first year, I've been only in this business for about 18 months now,
oh
but
wow.
3 months were the most difficult months for me because I was struggling on how to basically generate leads, and then once you get past that, once you get a a clear, not clear, but somewhat a clearer path to understanding what people respond to, what
Mm,
unique personality for your own product. Then that's when you start feeling like, yes, I'm going to have some traction here. So number one thing is, most of the times, generating leads. Where do I get it from? And the answer for me was just never stop. Keep doing everything you can. People, TikToks, go out on the street, whatever it needs to be. How about you?
yeah. Yep. Helen, you're more than welcome to add. But since on this topic, you have anything to add to that, Helen?
It's okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, Sean mentioned something really good, so I want to dive into it a little bit. A lot of realtor, they just don't know how to advertise themselves, right? This is something that we don't actually learn in school unless you're in like business school. So could you, if you don't mind sharing, could you just dive a little bit? Like what advertisement that work for you, and
Yeah.
how a new agent can actually, using that to get to jumpstart their business.
Right. So first of all, I'll tell you guys, in my opinion, you have to know a product. You have to know something that you can create for people, right? Number one thing I believe in the real estate is, you got to wake up and think about how you're going to make money for others. Okay, that's your product. Your product is how you're going to make money for others, and you got to think of that with a very clear and straight heart. All right, you got to say, focus. If I was this person, what would I do in this market? So you got to come up with a product. Number one, that product could be, let's say, investment of this type, or buying house for this reason, or it could be a simple, really good loan program, for example, that would work for any primary buyer with whatever minimum things that they may qualify for. So you gotta have that punchline, that product that either is going to work with an investor, or going to work for a primary buyer, or what have you, right? And
Mhm.
then you talk about it everywhere. Do
Okay.
do planks, do whatever signs you can, talk to people, make phone calls, you know and that's when you start getting traction. You have to have a product in your hand, right? It's not just going after people. You can't just say, I want to buy it, I want to buy it.
Yeah,
I think it's better to attract buyers than to chase buyers.
I love
That's
it.
right. Have a product so powerful that any person that's scrolling down phone looks at this product and says, you know what, I'm gonna give a call. I'm gonna give this guy a call, see what's going on here. There's a punchline on there that says blah blah blah, right? Let
Punchline.
me find
I love
out,
it.
right? Why is this guy saying this again and again? He's doing this monkey kind of dance, blah blah blah. But there's a message on the screen. We want to know that. What's going on? What's that investment? It might be good for, so people connect through different levels. They connect through languages, they connect through music, connect through emotions, like a funny TikTok, or uh, even your look. Hey, this guy looks like me. This guy has a funny nose like me. All right, I might call you. So
Love it.
find your own way to connect with people, and always have a punchline. Don't just do stuff for no sale point there, right? I'm just doing dancing TikTok, but there's nothing to sell. Don't do that. I don't do it, right?
Mhm.
I mean, there's another way to do that. If you were in a mainstream influencer business, yes, I can understand that. For me, I always have, like punchline. Why am I there in front of people? Why? Simply to sell stuff.
Yeah.
So that's how I basically operate. Go all out. Find, number one thing is, find a product, right, and then find different ways to reach out to people about that product.
Wow, I love it. So what is one of and Helen, feel free to chime in. What is one of your favorite channel to push out a message? What is working for you so far?
Uh,
He does all the advertisement. I don't want to. I'm really shy away from like camera and stuff. He does all that.
so for
Wow.
me, TikToks, I do TikToks, Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, right?
Okay.
Uh, I do talk to people. And then the thing about what I like doing is, in investments, once you show some investors, or one person even, that a certain product works,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden, next thing you know is, you'll have more people than you can find houses for.
Oh
Or
yeah, absolutely.
so first you have to understand math. It's not a rocket science. It's a simple real estate math. You have to understand how much does it take to go into this kind of investment, how much you get back over a year, and then
Mhm.
you got to talk to them in their terms, not like a super rocket science of cash on cash return, for example, is the whole, everybody wants to talk about that. What is it? Google it, understand it, what it means. It's not a rocket science. It's not something. So you have to know the product, you have to know the math, right? And get that math straight onto TikToks, Reels, social media. There's people that do paper advertisements, magazines and whatnot. Whatever works for you. I don't think there is such a thing that is bad advertisement. It just you have to see what works for you. What is the segment that you're targeting, right? I can't discount a certain idea. This guy does it this way. That's just stupid. No, not really, guys. That thing is working for that person, right? It may not work for you, but then find that one thing that works for you, and then just advertise.
Wow. So advertisement, TikTok, really have a punchline. I love that word, have a punchline in all your messages and then just keep pushing it out, in any way, and mean possible. That is amazing.
Right. So, and on even TikToks and any social media, right? You don't want to have more than a line or two on there, but they have to be catchy, like super catchy. Like, oh wow, this guy wants a zero down, zero closing cost house, for example, right? So how is that even possible? You got to figure out all the math behind it. You got to have a team ready. If someone calls me about a TikTok today, I can have the whole deal done within 3 hours. Well, literally happens, guys. A guy from Hawaii, I give you a great example. A guy from Hawaii saw my TikTok, called me. We got into track the next day. We had a pre-approval letter ready for him within 3 hours. Okay,
Holy moly.
from that first phone call, and then that guy went on to buy 4 houses.
No
With
way. Congratulations.
just thank you. It's just the way we attract customers. Have the math ready. There's no gimmick there that says, oh, you know what, you're not trying to hide anything.
Mhm.
You have People will ask difficult questions. You got to know those answers yourself first. You'll
Yep.
go through some bad experiences first, but you'll get your math perfected.
No, I love it. I love it. And one thing I want to point out, since you mentioned Hawaii, I think most of the people, we live in Houston. We kind of take, the housing price over here for granted. But, it's just like Sean, if you understand the math and you look at, some pocket of neighborhood, there's a lot of houses, they're still for sale. Like when I look at this morning, amazing three bedroom, two bedroom, they still for sale for like 180, 190, 200, 240, and you can lease it. You can totally cash flow and you can totally, capture the appreciation in the years coming, right?
Absolutely.
So
Today's market for that matter, I know that interest rates are high and stuff like that. Inventory is low, guys, but people are negotiating, right?
Yep.
Don't shy negotiating, right? And even in negotiations, this is what I want to say for seller agents, especially. I come across a lot of seller agents in Houston. Don't be emotional. Emotions do not get the deals done. Numbers do. All
Yep.
right. If you counter people instead of saying, "Oh, I'm insulted," I'm blah blah blah, you are doing a disservice to your seller, to your client.
100%.
If I'll tell you a good example. A house that I closed on last week, this seller agent, the listing agent, had actually blocked my text message and phone calls only because she thought we were asking too much. I had to go to the block all that and had to get her to close.
Oh, wow.
So the emotions have very little, place in this whole thing. You have to know the math. You have to counter, always counter. Come on, math is the only way we close the deal. Emotions is not the way to close the deal, guys. Don't feel insulted. Nothing is. Just say someone gives you half of the offer what you're asking. Don't be just like, oh, I'm insulted. Well, how about this? How about can your seller or buyer come to this, right? I mean, that's when you're making progress. So, keep focused, keep to the math, keep to the numbers, and get stuff done.
Wow, Sean, I have no idea. We have so much in similarity. This is exactly how I found all my deal for investment as well, right? I mean, we're just gonna tell the seller agent to say, hey, I understand you listing at this much, but based on the current environment of the interest rate, based on the number that we're trying to get it, this is the maximum reasonable offer that we can, have for you. Why would you mind help me, talk to the seller to see how he's feeling about it, and then I believe we can work something out, right? There's,
And remember, we're two people in there, we're there for a reason, the seller agent and the buyer agent, right? We're here to keep the chaos away from the actual parties, right? And
Got
so
it.
we got together in this game. It's not two parties like, hey, who you are in another party and I'm not. We're not enemies. We're trying to work this together and manage expectations of these parties, right? I might even tell you, hey, brother, look, this might work. How about this? Why don't we just, because the real interest here is to close. Both these properties, both these parties are only going to win when they close. They
Yep.
want they want a really fantastic investment opportunity. If you just keep going hard at negotiating, none of these people will be with the house.
Yep.
Nobody will. The realtors don't get paid. The parties don't get to close, and there's no money in nobody. So you have to work in a way that these realtors are actually same party. They're trying to manage expectations of two different parties
Yep.
and to agreement and close.
Wow. Helen, where you been hiding this guy? He is amazing.
Learn it right here.
Wow, wow, wow. Sean, for people that's watching the show, what Sean just shared is just gold. This is how, like just like I say, an offer is an offer. And as a listing agent, I'm obligated to present that offer, right? You just have to, learn how to present the offer, and then you have to let the seller make an informed decision and keep the emotional out of it. Because
Right.
if you don't work together with the other realtor to get the deal done, and then nobody get paid. Sean, you nail you nail the nail on that one. I'm so glad you say that. Yeah, because people, they kind of they misunderstood about what it means to be a realtor. They don't have a punchline like you say, and then I mean, if I'm giving you asking price for your house, I'm basically giving my money away, right? I mean, what's the fun in that? Let's negotiate, let's make it a win-win. Let's get something done. I'm not gonna give you my money.
Very good point here. Wait, what's the fun in all that? You have to learn to love negotiating. You have to learn to be respectful about it. You have to learn new tactics of communication, right? Every opportunity, every negotiation is an opportunity to be perfecting a certain communication skill, a certain aspect of the deal, a certain way to ask for more money, or make both parties happy, whatever it is, offer this, offer that, and then get it done. So that's a very important thing. Have fun with it. Not just, if it was just a simple paperwork, like you go out and get a candy at a Walmart, we wouldn't be as interested.
I know.
There's
What's the fun in that?
so yeah, have fun while you do it.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I'm so glad we have this conversation. And again, Helen, feel free to chime in. I know you shy, but you have your wealth of information is just so much. So feel free to chime into the conversation. Well,
Remember, I had a lot of trouble with seller agent.
yeah,
Like I met crazy seller agent, and I call you for the help.
yep,
Some situation that we even need a lawyer, right?
yep.
So we both learn from all that, and then the thing is, after you learn one hard K, you always get better.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So moving on, so now you have a very successful business as a real estate agent. Could you tell me your goal and vision in the next 2, 3, or even 5 years? Like where do you two see yourself grow, from this, right? I know that you're in a beautiful Tesla right now, and you go to get, moving on to a Ferrari, a Lamborghini. What is your goal in the next 2, 3 years? Share that with everybody.
So honestly, guys, I'm just starting out in this business. I'm in months into this, so I believe that I don't know enough to set a goal yet. So I'm not 5 years out guy yet. I want
Mhm.
to learn. All I know is I want to learn and grow fast. So I want to learn as many segments as possible. For example, now we're into fix and flippers. Now we're into remodeling. Now we're into short-term rentals and investments. Now we're also, yeah, building new projects, land development projects. Those
No
are,
way.
there's so many different segments in a realtor's life, a real estate person's life. We want to learn it all, and then we want to. One thing we have to constantly keep in our mind is how fast are we growing compared
Mhm.
to how we went to bed last night, right? You have to wake up and you have to think about how I'm gonna basically, double up, triple up on my way of doing things. Sometimes we are in our own way of growth. We're saying we're not going to do this, we're not going to do this, blah blah blah. But then when you're when you get enough time, somewhat free time, then you have to think about all these different things that are available within that business sector. Like all these different real estate investments vehicles. There are people today, trust me guys, and this is always the case throughout the world. There are people sitting on the money looking for agents and investors or entrepreneurs like ourselves.
Yep.
They're hoping that there is a rising star out there with an amazing idea that is capable of, one, explaining and calculating, number two, executing the project. Okay. You want to be that person. You want to look for opportunities. All you want to do is wake up and look for deals, wake up and look for ways to make money for people, right? Not just one or two sectors, but basically, hey, how would I explain to an institutional investor who has, let's say, a $200 million on his hand to invest in Houston, in what ways, or Texas or whatnot? The further you go on those numbers, the more challenging it becomes. It also sounds almost like dramatic thing, right? Some little guy engineer from last year is trying to put together a 200 million project. That's how you feel yourself. Stop judging, get serious, practice all your authoritative powers, and say, what am I going to do if I were to invest, let's say, $50 million, or even if a smaller number, let's say $3 million. Guys, just imagine your situation. Come up with products, be interested in the market. It's a lot of work. Okay. It's a lot of work. Nobody makes progress in life without putting in huge amount of work. Nobody does. Okay. So don't be under impression that, oh, it's all flexible real estate, I want it to be easy, blah blah blah. It doesn't work like that, right? Two things about real estate are true. The most amazing thing about real estate business is you have no boss. The worst thing about real estate is you have no boss. Okay, which means there's nobody's going to come kick you in the rear in the morning and say, Sean, you're sleeping, you're going too slow.
Yep.
That's a dangerous situation. So you are your own boss. You got to wake up and think about ways to double up, triple up. When you feel like you understand the whole thing, then maybe set a goal for 5 years, 10 years. 5 years in today's 2023 for a guy like me is a long time. My wish is to, the desire is to retire in 5 years.
Yeah.
So we have to double up every single time.
And then
Man,
also,
Sean, love it. Go
yeah,
ahead, Helen.
Also for investment, it's not like you have to have a lot of money to investment. Sometimes you don't have to have any dollar. You still can invest with us. Like you can still own a house. You still can have your investment, your rental with $0.
Yep.
That's
There you
yeah.
go. How to own your investment with zero now. Contact Helen and Sean right now.
Yes.
I love it. I love it.
Ways to do a lot of things, guys. You got to have a realtor with you, a solid realtor that knows loan programs. So a difference between a regular real estate strategy and a stronger one is knowing loans. What loans you have available, including private loans right now. With the high interest rates, even private lenders have become competitive, right?
Oh
I
yeah.
have more and more buyers today, investors that are closing quickly with private money than I had last year, right? So it's just becoming more and more interesting. I have a lot of resources like many other realtors in town do. They know good loan officers, they know good private lenders. Whatever situation you may have, we can figure out a deal. Find you a good realtor that is interested in the business, and then boom, go from there. You will a good realtor can change your portfolio.
Okay. I'm sold. Where do I sign up to work with you, Sean? Oh man, this is amazing. So go ahead.
We learn from you.
Wow. So two things, I want to give it a plug, to our community, EXP, and our team Legacy really quick. We have so many professionals here. You mentioned you mentioned hedge fund. go ahead, for everybody who's watching this video, if you're in EXP, go ahead and sign up for institutional investment service certification training right now, right? Our company, we are begin to partner with so many big hedge fund, around the world, and then they start to find certified agent, let's say in Houston, to start, work directly with the with the hedge fund, right, to buy and dispose property for them. So go to workplace, find institutional investment service, and get certified, right? Because a lot of deal is going to be coming from that program. Yeah. And then the other the other point that Sean mentioned, I want to recap it because it's so good, right? When you strongly believe in your deal, Sean, like I have some of the realtor, I don't know if you know them, like Michael Stavy, because he strongly believe in the deal that he get for his client. He's willing to give up his commission, to be able to partner as a LP, as a limited partner on the back end. So that way, number one, right? Because if you don't need the money now, you can part your commission in the deal. You pay no income tax, and then you actually work on the side with your investor and development project as well. So there's just so many ways to make money.
Exactly. Thank you for bringing that point. To that point, let me say this too. Very true, guys. Investors are not some really super smart rocket scientists or anything like that. Investors are keen people, someone who understands math, not the deals, math, right?
Mm-hmm.
As realtors in this industry, it's our role to bring them opportunities that will make money. They will ask you right questions. They will get into deals that are appropriate for them. But for your own task, every day you got to look for opportunities that will make so much money for them with conviction, right? If you were not just, hey, there's land for sale, blah, 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 just go take a look at. No, you can't do that. You got to get the land. You got to run the comps. You got to talk to builders. You got to get the whole project together. You say, all right, this is how much it's going to take. Let's say $16 million to put in. And here's how much you're going to get per unit. And here's how the cash on cash. Learn all these terms, right? You don't have to be an engineer to do these calculations. That's the beauty of it, guys. I was an engineer, but that doesn't mean that I really have a great math skills or anything like that. Nothing more than what a high school level math takes to do these calculations. If the calculations are too complicated, the deal may be actually flaky, right? You got to be able to do that mind math. In your mind, it's like, all right, I'm going to put in $100,000. I'm going to get back 120, 130, whatever that number may be. Most times, good investments can be done just by, sniffing stuff like, back of the envelope calculations. Does this make sense? Ask right questions. But more importantly, have a supporting data for it, right? Don't just go and say, oh, I promise you this is going to be happening. Don't say that. Say, hey, look, in last 3 months, this is what has happened in that area, right? Boom. Then you give this information, wealth of information to this investors, and they will be after you. These people will love it. They'll be like, oh, whatever you say, Sean, I've got at least 8-9 investors that say, what do I sign? What do I sign? Just send me whatever, because they feel like they've gone through enough rigorous calculations that I have for them. And when I have my own conviction, I present it that way. Say, hey, you know what? I think this will make money because XYZ happened in the last 3 months in that zip code, in that subdivision, in that blah, blah, blah,
Yeah, I love it. Real estate, I tell people all the time, real estate is just math, and you don't need calculus. You don't even need pre-calculus. This is like Sean say, high school math. And if you can just get that right and then have supporting evidence to back it up, and if it's too complicated, it's not a deal, move to the next deal. I love that. Awesome, man. We're getting really to the end of the show here. I'm gonna move on to the next segment of the show. About about time management, right? I mean, I would love to work 18 hours a day, but as a matter of fact, we have family. I know you have kids.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So we all have a family to grow. We all have things to do outside of real estate. So how do you not manage, but how do you kind of control the time and make sure that your other stuff like family, health, obviously you look super healthy here. How do you manage all that to make sure you have like a well-rounded life?
Okay, so I'm not a good person to
Helen is like
yeah. don't have a good answer. I'm 100% workaholic, guys. I don't believe in work and life balance and stuff like that. But I do think that when you are someone like me, someone like a crazy person, workaholic, you got to have a right person with you, like a CEO. I think of this as a life, right? So my wife is the CEO of my life. She takes care of entire thing. Okay. I mean, I wouldn't even know where my clothes would be and if they were washed, or or what my kid ate that morning, or even if he did go to school or not, if it wasn't for her created support system. She's not only the CEO of my life, but she also takes care of rigorous calculations, taking care of day-to-day activities, running all the investment properties management stuff. So you got to have a person that you trust and believe in, that you can work with, in order to have that balance in some way. That you could still do whatever you like, and then, I mean, I'm not really, I guess, talking to the balance part here, because I do not have a balance and do not live in the balance. But the only thing that makes me feel like I have a balance in life is my wife.
Oh
She's
wow.
my, although I have not taken a vacation in the last 6 years,
Oof.
whenever I'm with her, she's taking care of all the things, but as well as we're having fun. I mean, good 30-minute beer break in a week is a vacation for me. If I can afford to, take some time out and not look at the phone and go with my wife to a beer garden, or take my son to maybe a central market to have a sandwich or whatever, I made it. So my expectations from life are very minimal. So I'm guilty of that. Have somebody that takes care of it. How about you, Helen?
Wow. Behind every man is a super successful woman. Helen, what do you have to say to that?
I had nothing to say. I just had to try my best.
Man, look at that. Yeah, I do want to mention that spouse support is super important. I never seen any successful couple that do not work together, right? Just like you see me and Jenny, a lot of successful couple in our group, they all back up each other. So Helen, thank you for what you do. Like really, truly.
Special shout out, guys. We checking out. We checked out 6 houses on a Thanksgiving Day morning, just before we started cooking at 5 o'clock that night. Me and both. We love this stuff. We love business. So I think you got to have some kind of understanding with your spouse to have that balance.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to. She doesn't have to love your business, but maybe some understanding of why you do what you do, and then maybe
Wow.
then.
Well, Helen, I mean, I think he know your value. Holiday is coming. I think y'all should take a break this afternoon, drive straight to Zadok and pick something nice for yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. Well, Helen, really, thank you so much for everything you do, and especially, I'm just amazed of all the super mom and all the super woman in the group. I don't know how y'all do it. It's just, like amazing, right? It's hard for me, for Sean, and I can't imagine, being a mom, being a wife, and then you really have to build up business. I have no clue on how you guys do it. So big hat off, congratulations to you, Helen. Thank you for everything.
Women, also would like to say this, guys. Women are the best instrument, the tool, the personality in business.
Yep.
Trust me. I wouldn't be able to do even a quarter of the deals that I do today without having, not only as my wife, but as a woman, handling these things. They're
Yep.
just good negotiations. They have a different, a mindset. They have a different way of going with the details and stuff like that. So I think it's overall a great thing to have a woman in this business with
Yep,
you.
absolutely. 100% agree with you, Sean. Love it. Okay, well, the last two questions, and then go ahead, Helen.
Sean always say the buyer buy the house because of his wife.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So I actually, just putting some numbers together is just a thing that I do, of course, for people, just to project the returns and things like that. But then there's a lot of other things that come with the detailed work that comes with running an investment. And Helen is such a good person for that thing, that all these investors feel like, all right, I got a person that cares about saving $30 on that investment's, total operational cost or whatever. So that level of detail, Helen can really bring in. So you got to have a person, someone like that. It's a really good benefit.
Wow, love it, love it, love it. Okay, well, so the last two questions I'm gonna ask, and then I'm gonna let you guys go. Make sure you treat Helen to out for some nice shopping today. The last two questions. One is easy. One is hard. The easy one, I think you answered that already, but I haven't heard the answer from Helen. So Helen, what do you do for fun? Else, something not real estate, not showing houses. What do you do for fun?
Houses.
What? Say that one more time.
Shopping for houses.
Shopping for houses. Anything that not related to real estate, please.
Shop for houses.
All right, guys, she's 100% committed to real estate. If you need a person who's gonna help you in your real estate need, Sean and Helen is the guy, is the couple.
And in her free time, she loves to eat. So we spend, sometime whenever we can, we get a sit down lunch at a, most times we're eating out of cars or, on a drive, this, that. But she likes to eat, a lot of different types of food. So every now and then, when we get a free, some free time, we just go sit down at a restaurant and eat some,
I
fun
love it. I love it.
there, whatever,
Okay, well, the last question is a hard question. So, if you want, take some time to think about it and then you answer. So I know, in the next 5 years, you're going to be so successful. You're going to run a big real estate company. You're going to have so many agents who want to follow you and learn from you, right? All the money that you can make in the world, right? You're going to be a millionaire in the next 5 years, but you cannot pass any of this, money to your kid. You are only allowed to pass them one advice to your kid, not money. What would that be?
Woo.
Woo.
I would very carefully. Well, we have to teach our kids to always be hungry, okay, and never take things for granted. Learn, uh, be hungry for knowledge, be hungry for growth, right? You have to grow. You have to understand how am I going to get from where I'm at today to double that in next whatever time, a month or two or whatever approaches. So I would say the first thing I would want my kids to believe or to I guess learn to grow, to just basically wherever you're at, whether it be grades, whether it be in your business, whether it be in your education, you have to say, how am I just going to say, oh, I've had enough.
Mhm.
I don't want to say that. I want to wake up and think about how I'm going to double down today and how I'm going to grow double the knowledge that I have, double the resources that I have within a certain quick amount of time. Once you stop growing, you're dead, guys. That there's no fun in life. There's nothing that's gonna make you feel as good as learning and growing. So you have to always, I call it a eye at the sky. You got to always look up. Sky's the limit. You always have to grow and grow and grow, and you have to inculcate that in your kids. You have to say, all right, no matter where you stand, you have to always say, all right, you learned this today. What's next? Right?
Yep, I love it. I love it.
So I guess I'm not a super philosophical person on that, what to tell my kids and stuff, but I would insist on them growing every day of their lives, ask themselves, what I learned today and what I'm going to do better.
Yep, yep. There's a saying that, if you're not growing, you are dying, right? So it doesn't matter where you're at, the age, you just have to grow. If you're not growing, and then you're dying.
And then once you determine that you want to grow pretty much every day, every week, then you start looking for skills. You start looking for that knowledge. You start looking for those attitudes, whatever those avenues to grow are, and then that's how you grow. Get into different things in life, and you become, a successful person.
Wow, I love it. I love it. Yeah, Helen, anything to add before we end?
I'm okay. Agree with all.
Okay, well, so yeah, Sean, Helen, thank you so much, for the past 45 minutes. What you shared just go. So I just hope that this message is gonna get out there, to the real estate agent out there who's looking to get your license, getting into real estate. Sean and Helen is definitely the couple for you to look up to and to learn from. So Sean, if people want to follow you, what is your Instagram, TikTok channel? What is your cell phone? How can people reach out to you?
Houston Airbnb. That's my TikTok. Or you could do you could call me, text me straight on my cell phone, 832-808-8119. I return calls. I return text messages. The best way to do it, guys. I rather do everything about my business with a text message than a phone call, only because it gives all the parties involved an opportunity to think about the message and respond in an appropriate way.
I
I
love
don't
it.
like my feet, you know. So that's you can reach me, ask me any questions, any help. I mean, we have VXP here. That's it has abundance of knowledge and help, legal, tactical. Great realtors who is here. He's such a resource. Whatever you like, you can call him anytime. He will provide any help you like. Yeah,
Just like
it's
us. Oh
just
my
like
God.
us. In the beginning, I would ask my wife, Helen, can you call who ask and there you go. Within few minutes we would have an answer and things like that. So yes, feel free to reach out anytime.
Wow, wow. Your number one more time, Sean.
832-808-8119.
Okay. Well, Helen, you have your separate follower. What is how do people get in touch with you when they don't want to talk to Sean?
Oh, 2-367-6888.
One more time.
832-367-6888.
Wow, guys, thank you so much. I don't know what to say, but really want to thank you for your time today. And I hope that this broadcast today is gonna get to the ear and hand of more and more people, so that we can help them.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here.
All right,
Thank
all right. Thank you, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, hang on.